continue to shimmy on their way into this game, that potentially they might have a chance of taking on the top spot in the league in LDLC as we get into our 4th game of the day.
Talked about early game and how LDLC at times do make mistakes, do get a little too over-eager. Will Misfits be able to punish them? This composition, they very well might be able to, and especially, I think, although relevant, popped the hell off last time he was on this pick. Borderline 1v9 on his Akshan. I think this game will be a little tougher than that one, just because he has a lot of CC that he's got to watch out for. Even on Aka, this Vigar in the mid lane, the fact is he's going to be able to kind of keep himself alive, apply a lot of burst damage as well. There's definitely plays to be made here, but it's just, man, I don't know if I've ever casted a Skarner.
I haven't either.
I don't know.
I don't even remember what his ultimate's called.
I'm gonna look it up at this point.
Yeah, go and find out, please. Let me know, man. It's because at this point, I feel like it'd be pretty important. But I know the most I know about him is how Flowers over at NA, you know, boasts about his creativity and just his ability to almost carry his games with his own potential Skarner. I'm gonna tweet at him about that afterwards, see what he thinks. But as of right now, Misfits and LDLC, early skirmishes should definitely be abundant with both of these teams. So we'll see how they look to face up against each other. As Relevant will naturally get the push the entire time. But with the way things are looking, Tinks has already managed to clear almost the entire top side as he looks to roam down bot. Woolite and Vander will definitely bounce the wave here against Dox and Exit. So I'm looking at bot side potential ganks that could be a possibility within the next 2 minutes.
At this point, you're already seeing Relevant go after the second wave to put a bit of deep vision, get an idea on where Yike is going to be, because being able to track this Xin Zhao is going to be a big deal, so you don't get surprised by any of the ganks he's going to go for.
Yeah, and they do exactly that, by the way. Actually, that cage landing, too, does mean the trade alongside the lightning proc means that does come out even, whereas Ico's supposed to come on top of that, too. So, this is actually really interesting, because I would figure that LDLC would want to play a little bit safer, but they're trading so heavily early on, that means, you know, this game can get very, very volatile if any of the junglers show up and decide to, you know, potentially 3-man a 1v1 or 2v2.
Well, now Yike, he's going to go back. He's just going to go for the full clear. This time around, isn't looking to make any sort of plays at the moment. We had a lot of aggressive trading, bot side. Really nice from Exakick and DOS, but overall, yeah, it's pretty soon now that Tinks is gone, finished the full clear, has a Scuttle Crab. He's actually going to take some pretty interesting pathing, just get the timer on some of these camps, and try to get, oh man, I forgot what this is called too, but...
Let's call them sigils.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that.
You know, his little precipices of power that he needs to get to make sure that he attacks faster and does more damage and such, right?
Moves faster too, I think.
Moves faster too, you're
Crystal
right,
Spires.
Ah, thank you, sir. That makes sense because he's Crystal.
Yeah.
So, that's perfect. What's the ultimate called?
Impale.
Impale! That makes sense!
Yeah.
Because he impales you.
And then he just kind of says, get over here.
Oh, yeah. he's literally Scorpion.
I mean, he kind of looks like a Scorpion, too.
He actually is a Scorpion.
No, well, actually, he's a Brackern. That's what they're called.
Alright, whatever.
Bro, are you telling me you're going to tweet this to Flowers and to get, like, the most basic facts wrong? He's going to flame you.
Oh, my God. I'm not going to go into specifics, man. I'm not going to...
He would?
Man, you're the type of guy who probably pointed out, like, hey, miss, we didn't do homework actually today.
No, absolutely not. I hated those people.
Well, you're the Will Ashley guy here today, but as of right now, we'll point out, well, actually, although past the early aggression, Misfits have managed to take a 500 goal lead from just being able to trade just a couple of places and farm simply out of that as well. So I'm liking this a lot as Dragon is up right now. Vander moves over. They do find where DOS and Yike are, so they've potentially set up for a dive going in the mid lane. As the cage is down, so Chayak will be able to walk away freely as Tinks is there as well.
Right. Early Dragon is in the cards. You so choose for LDLC, but neither team is actually going for it at the moment. It's just a one red-pink ward for Misfits on that side of the map.
Yep.
So far, surprisingly, we haven't seen a lot happen from Yike. He's been playing the Xin Zhao, thank you. And the fact is, I mean, at this point, he's done a couple clears and hasn't actually gone for any plays, which is usually not only unlike him, but not what you'd expect from players playing the Xin Zhao. You do have some gank opportunities here, but he hasn't been willing to go for any so far. With his mid lane resetting, with the fact that his bot lane are pushed in and the enemy bot is missing, this is just going to be an easy early dragon here for Misfits.
Yeah, and they were roaming around this earlier, right? Considering they saw Yike and DOS here previously farming up, so they will spot through that. The Yike's likely on a back, and through all that tracking, that is easy first Drake. Misfits continue their couple hundred goal lead within the early game. And you're right, yeah. I'm personally surprised as well that we haven't seen much early action, but I think I was somewhat expecting this out of Tinks because we know he wants 6, right? It's like the days of yore where your jungler goes Devour and not much else happens, but Woolite caught in a very similar position to Crown Shot.
In.
Last game, flashes over the wall this time though, as now Tinks is here as well. No level 5 from either jungler, and the forced to flash out of Yike.
Still, you're kind of happy with that trade because you forced Woolite to flash. Now he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable, and the fact that you walk away means Chayek's roam doesn't end up mattering, but that's something to look out for on LDLC side. Now that the level 6 comes through, the Spirit Rush is there for Chayek, and we know now with the changes, she does get an extra dash. With every takedown, she manages to pick up in that, I think, 20 to 25 second period. There's a lot of mobility here for Chayek, even went the Ignite as a result, because it is about just assassinating people, killing them. If they're on your screen, they're out. Dunzo. Don't want to see him no more, and that's the opportunities that he has for the moment here, especially once Tinks gets access to that Impale. Him and Chayek can move around the map and set up the same dives.
Yeah, it's so well done right now from Chayek, right? We've praised for having this very prominent early game, and has definitely have some massive pop-up moments on the side of Misfits, right? We can recount back to his days on the Yasuo, alongside Diana as well, who getting rid of triple kills, accelerating the game from there, makes him a force to be reckoned with. And even on this Ahri, who has such outplay potential, you want to see him accelerate the game for himself even further from this. Although not able to find the same sort of dominance against the Veigar, who can just kind of chill back and farm up, right? But currently, Misfits do hold a lot of the cards in their hands, and Rift Herald is started up.
And again, LDLC don't have the pressure to really go for some of these objectives, or at least they very much don't feel that they can. Now they know, since they know Vander isn't there, at least Exakick and DOS are able to pick up some gold. Crescendum being there means Exakick, 1, as the red and white don't fight, 2, is going to be able to get some turret plate gold in his favor. Does have to share it with DOS, but that is technically the value you usually get with the Rift Herald, about 2 plates worth. And it's just LDLC keeping things slow at the moment here, feeling they aren't in a position to fight until ultimates come online, and now, only one who doesn't have one on their side is DOS. No quickness available just yet, and they feel the 5v5s is where they're going to be the most effective. And it makes sense. You have a lot of engage, you have a lot of damage, ways to lock people down, and you also have Ragnar, and that's the most interesting thing. On this Gragas, that he is usually performing very well on, you have this ability to displace members of Misfits, make it harder for them to actually form up in front to back the way they want to.
Yes, sir, exactly like you mentioned. And although not able to have, just the same sort of early roaming plays that we might be able to see with no real lane prio on him, right? He will definitely be locked in lane for quite a long time, but that's what we're looking at irrelevant to further his lead, potentially, because he himself, after locking down this first tower, is going to start to become a menace. And if he gets the same sort of lead that he did before, then I'm very, very afraid for LDLC's composition. As when they almost lost against Geo previously, the early game is what did them in, but it's been fairly tame for right now. And if this keeps going, then LDLC, I think, are more than okay with it because they got a Veigar.
Yeah, I mean, the scaling is certainly infinite, and you do, even though Ahri is really strong at the moment here, you are hoping they can get a bigger lead, set up some kills, things like that, and we haven't been seeing it just yet, so instead it is Chayek moving around with the jungler, like we were expecting, because they might have spotted him. I don't think they saw Yike recalling, but because he's missing, Exakick and DOS, they have the information. Herald is here. So they are in a bit of a dangerous position. And Misfits is going to be able to easily take this turret.
They found the graviton onto Tinks, but they will not lock him down currently. Like you're saying, the Herald there, they won't drop it as of yet, interestingly enough, but he'll move away. I guess the wave's pushing in, so he doesn't want to risk necessarily overstaying, because considering Yike is not also here in that 3v3, might be very, very dangerous for Misfits and especially give away this stable early game that they've had.
Yeah, Aka, have to be very respectful of the fact that even that's not allowed. Tinks could very well, if he really wanted to, could flash and impale if his teammates were nearby.
True.
Things like that can happen very, very quickly. So at this point, Misfits, because of all this pressure they've had in the mid lane, in the bot lane, they're just going to continue to stack dragons. And the fact that Irrelevant has just been auto-pushing top this entire time, he's 30 CS up, already has the Hull Breaker built up, means that even in the 4v4, LDLC are in a tough position, and they're just going to let this dragon go. Already Misfits halfway towards what we know as a Cloud Soul.
And B-Time, we were saying this before, that the early game so far throughout this day has been what decided these games, right? The early momentum has ultimately led these teams to much more stronger team fights, being stronger in the game, and there's a flash for flash, and there's the Impale. Where you going, buddy? Absolutely nowhere. There we go, he goes down. X-Kick should be gifted over, I thought, to Tinks, but instead, Vander will pick that. What is it with Nautilus taking kills today?
I know, at first it was Chameleus, now it's Vander, but ultimately it doesn't matter because you get all the gold you could possibly want. Herald charging means Woolite gets a lot of this local gold here. A player we highlight often on this Misfits Premier roster. The only returning member, being a big player, big carry threat. Last year,
I mean, he still has flash, right? And not anymore. There we go, under tower.
Nice.
Pop the barrel, and there we go. Bye-bye to the Brits. Unfortunate for Irrelevant, as Flash not got it from him as well. Then finally Ragnar gets to breathe in his own lane.
Right, and you end up getting a kill onto this very same Ragnar. He's actually going the AP route, which is really nice in these matchups where you do get outranged. I mean, Gragas is actually like pretty strong.
Yeah.
So if you do go that AP route, you can get the better of some of these matchups. Oh my god.
Yep.
The Ignite.
Dude, no way, man.
No
He
shot.
commits the
No W?
flash.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, no dub charge, not necessary. That's a solo kill. Oh, and I think they're gonna bring back like Nautilus jungle or Nautilus top.
Oh, don't say that.
He's so strong.
No, we're gonna see the replay here. Flash expended, but Tinks is still moving so quickly that he's able to. Oh, and you know what?
Oh.
The TP got canceled. Was wondering why he never ended up showing up. So it was a nice charm there from Chayak as well. I don't think it would have made a difference. If anything, I think he saved Aka's life, but regardless, good chance.
But that's not locked down. There's a slow as well from Woolite, but they don't have enough damage to potentially turn it. Speaking of being turned upon, Das right now trying to get down with the quickness, but has to run away. Ragnar not there in time, but a nice Everfrost. They look to go win the Blast Cone. Going to hop them over the wall. Yike. Cannot find a dash on any one of them, but looks to go in by himself. He gets impaled and gets stunned. Now speaking of being stunned, Aka now here. Not gonna lot to anybody at all, but yikes.
Oh,
there's a lot of damage. They can't burst him down. Vander goes down. That's a shutdown as well as Ika wants more. But can he get it? He's locks down Tinks, the Everfrost, and
really
the
nice.
death. Yike brings it back. They want to try to get a third, but Woolite has no mana. He missed the Moonlight Vigil, but Irrelevant still dies. Comes back to lane just to watch life fade away.
Yike.
Woolite's the next target, and that's an almost ace from LDLC at 14 minutes.
Yeah, even though Irrelevant manages to take the turret, push so much of this bottom lane in, it doesn't really matter. You get so many kills on the side of LDLC, and though they find themselves down about 1,000 gold, you get a lot of gold in some key places here. Aka picking up two and getting an interruption onto Vander, who ended up having a bouncy. And I like this. They pushed them out, and you can see how well DOS managed to keep them before we got to this replay. And at this point, you have this opportunity. Yike, being Xin Zhao, level 9, is very tanky just naturally. And as soon as Ragnar is part of the picture here, it's easy for them to secure this. And Woolite and Tanks kind of splitting themselves off a little bit. You can see Woolite was low mana. There was no way he was going to be able to do the damage.
Yeah, it's and honestly, everybody was low mana, right? Because look, like you were saying, even Skarna too had nothing going for him as well. No real cooldowns up to be able to try to slow them down. And like you were mentioning, Woolite, you're locked in the cage. This is what we praise LDLC for, as Ika locks two in the baby cage. So we'll manage to get a bit more damage down, and we'll stay alive and awake currently. But Maybe LDLC want to turn this back. Maybe they want to try to get a bit more. Luckily dashes away as Shayak isn't far too deep. He's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, he is flying. But the barrel comes in. Woolite is not. On 4.
And this is what we keep talking about from LDLC.
The team fight.
They just managed to play them so very well. And you can start to see Misfits hesitating on some of these angles, not finding the fights that they are looking for, and especially in this situation, once Shayak is out of the fight, you think, okay, we can just full send it. What are they going to do about it? No Ari, no Charm, no problem. LDLC now continuing to narrow this lead, and maybe unlike Game Ward, they're going to be able to prevent that soul point from coming through in 14 seconds down.
Definitely do not want that, but considering Misfits have managed to at least push all the way to the base, right? It is quite nice. It does prove hopeful for themselves if they are trying to stop this dragon or maybe just take slow point from themselves. But LDLC, like you said, want to fight this. They want this Ocean Soul. It would be so nice for themselves, but a lot of Misfits want this more, especially for what it takes. They have the charm onto Yike. They chunk about a fourth of his health. But Woolite, if he dies here, they have to give up Dragon.
Even the fact that he's standing there under that mid-tier 1 is kind of an indication that LDLC can just go for this, but they want to instead try and do something. Maybe they were waiting for that that rocket coming through from Woolite. Either way, it's out. It's going to be an easy Dragon secure, and you're going to see Aka TP top lane just to keep this lane going, pick up the gold and XP as LDLC are pretty happy with how this game has been going so far.
He's at 182 stacks, almost 300 AP collectively, and he knows he can just build that. Take stats too, so just to make sure he stays topped up. And LDLC will continue their reign over the map, as the second neutral objective will be theirs as well. Now, Misfits are roaming around here, but I don't think they want this fight considering irrelevant is topside, and Shayak is bot, so they just want to continue to push these sideways.
Right, and now LDLC, they're happy to group and just go ahead and go take this Rift Herald as Misfits are fighting for mid-prio. They just get to walk out and not really lose much of anything for it here. It feels like Misfits kind of don't have as many options as they did earlier on, because now you're starting to things are even, don't get me wrong, but in a way you're playing from behind. When we think about kill share on Misfits' side, 2 out of the 3 kills are on Vander, the support. So not as much gold as you'd be hoping if it managed to go onto some of the carries here.
Speaking of carries though, Exit Kick is doing really well. He's 2-1. He has about an item and a half alongside the boots. And so does Ika. As they both manage to scale up consistently with 2 kills in their back pocket, even shut down to the boot as well. So LDLC has to be feeling real strong. That's so, man, that's so unfortunate. Just Red Buff resets on top of that as well, but at least give that over, considering they know Tinks is there. Every Misfits can open up the map. Woolite with locked down with the Gravitum. They can't get there to him either though, because Aka was not there and neither was DOS, so a little bit farther away. So be fine with the Moonlight Vigil blown. They know that the next team fight might potentially be in Misfits' favor if they do manage to find a pin.
And now that they have had picked up the Rift Herald from earlier, LDLC are going to be able to take the mid turret for themselves and allow them to push their vision line forward. This is going to be really impactful because they're in a spot now, especially with Irrelevant still showing in the top lane. They're going to be able to easily walk the Rift Herald in and be able to get another charge. At this point, LDLC should walk away.
Oh, but they might not want to. Jike has no mana. DOS goes in with a little bit fancy feet of Jike. He gets locked in the baby cage. So now they look for the lockdown of Tinks. They get the impale on him, but he gets to run away. There's a lot of damage. Ragnar too far up. Gets hooked. Stays alive. And finally, Tinks dies. Irrelevant now look at the 1v5 angle. They all got low health bars. The flash from DOS. LDLC have to disengage. They're just far enough away. A lot of sums blown, though.
A lot of thumbs blown, but LDLC still managed to get a lot of gold share in that play. And they managed to hold on to, even though they lose Ragnar in the process, Exakick ends up picking up more kills, more gold on this 80 carry. And it all comes from a really aggressive play from Yike. Sees Woolite on the map and says, I took that personally. Forces him out of the fight, forces him to use the heal just so he can walk away from the situation, walk back into his base. And again, this is what we talk about with LDLC. Find openings, they take them, no hesitation.
No hesitation, bro. Not even for
I almost said that,
second.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, as you should, my friend. But exactly like you're mentioning, seems as though right now Misfits have started to fire, and LDLC decides, you know what? They also want to get it onto the smoke. Let's make that bigger. As there we go, DOS wants in for the smoke, but possibly can't take it. Has to run away. Good non-committal engage from him as he is. Or console, he's fine. Woohoo! Close.
Good reflexes. Manages to flash away from it. It does hurt his engaging capabilities just a little bit in terms of the gap closing later on, but ultimately he keeps his life. You don't give Woolite any more gold, so that's a dub. Now the only thing now is you have Yike who's resetting, thinking about the dragon coming up soon. Aka can stay top if he wants to because of the fact that, well, he can teleport to this dragon. It looks like Misfits are actually going to let that one go, though. Focus on vision control on this Baron, and let LDLC control the bottom side. Because getting two, especially with the changes, getting two Cloud Drakes in a row individually, they're whatever. It's not that big a deal. Some out of combat movement speed, which is nice, but ultimately getting control around Baron Vision I think is going to be more impactful. Misfits in these fights, though, being very passive. We talked about Tanks and how good he is at setting up these plays, both early, middle, and late. And on the Skarner pick, where he has opportunities to do so. But we haven't seen too many uses of that Impale come through, and now the Exekick does have the QSS, so that means it's going to be harder to actually take him out.
Oh, as the hook goes down, so does the baby cage too. A massive crescent guard by Yike is not going to focus the efforts onto Tinks. The Skarner has to potentially leap. Okay, managed to get over the wall, but that is as far as he will go. Exekick picking another one up for himself. Now Woolite with next target flash over the wall. Oh, a beautiful barrel, and one more onto DOS as Irrelevant is the next target. He TPs in just to die. Well, he walked all the way from bot lane, but still, just to die. That is Baron for LDLC.
Really easy pickup, really nice fight for LDLC, and as you say, they get the Baron, they can walk down the Dragon after, but the gold has finally swung back in their favor, and it's going to continue to swing that much further, because even though Misfits might be able to get that Dragon Soul point, as you can see them walking down, the damage is done, and you can see now how difficult, despite the engage, and despite what we want to see from people like Tinks and Vander, and despite how hard it is to play, because look at Aka. There it is. As soon as someone gets caught in that event horizon, LDLC full send it. They immediately get on top of them and just blow them to smithereens. And when you lose your Nautilus in this fight without you doing a speck of damage to anyone else in the process, you gotta run. But LDLC chase you down anyway.
And that's what we praise LDLC for, right? Immaculate position. I was gonna say, as you see in the little picture-in-picture, Tinks actually managed to steal away the Dragon. So that is really nice for him. That's a soul point given over to Misfits. Unfortunately, we missed that, but still with the Baron, the LDLC want to look for a fight as the wave is moving in from the bot end.
At this point now, you can see it, LDLC really using their strength, using the Baron buff that they have to just keep pushing this vision. Taking down some remaining outer turrets. I mean, this bot lane, hear it, he's going down. But it is more gold in this LDLC squad's pocket here, as Tanks is going to try and do his best to pull somebody out if he can, but it's hard now. The big person you want to be looking for is Exekick, but Exekick has that Quicksilver sash, so it's going to be really hard to be able to use that Impale. You're going to get that cooldown out right away, and you have Irrelevant, who is just constantly on the split, being the biggest source of gold here for this Misfits roster, and even though he gets that nice injection of gold, his presence means that LDLC are happy to take this 4v4.
Oh, very easy, my friend, and with the terrain control that they currently present with the Vanguard alongside Exekick, then they can just walk this into the base, they get the inhib, and even Ragnar himself can push out the top of yet again. They did not spot Irrelevant on any sort of vision either, but as he goes towards the mid lane, he's trying to make sure that he's not giving away his position, because if LDLC know that he is still there, he is not back, then might be a bit less confident on how to push these waves, as he does not show any backsway for now. So LDLC have an opportunity to fix their waves, and we're back to a bit more of a neutral position between both these teams.
I mean, you say neutral, but LDLC.
I mean map-wise, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, when you look at the waves, but we'll be auto-pushing, of course, because that inhibitor has been taken.
Indeed.
And with, I mean, Baron still being about 3.5 minutes away, the second one that is, it's not a big deal. Actually, it still might be down for when the next Baron comes up, so you still have that bottom lane to worry about here as you send Irrelevant, who has your some of the most amount of wave clear and ability to side lane. And you can see it most of the game shown in this gold grab. Misfits actually had a lead. LDLC finally, just before 25 minutes, managed to actually come out on top. But the kill score being 12-4 makes it even more interesting here. Wow!
That was a big chunk with Moonlight Vigil, especially with the Infernum, that AoE damage hits like a truck, but that will not be enough to force them away from the tower. The mid will not be opened up, but top side might potentially be as they get the T up tier 2, and the Baron expires. But LDLC cannot break open their base anymore.
Well, they can continue. They have a wave coming mid. They have one coming bot and top as well. Something Misfits are going to have to answer either way. DOS popped the Shirelias, so you got to imagine at this point he's just going to be looking for an engage angle.
Yeah, Woolet has no mana either, so the Rockets might potentially not be there, as he's just trying to position where he does not die, and they recognize this too. The AoE might not be there from their ADC, and so they give them a bit more rest. Bot wave comes in, and Misfits have to respond to something, and they choose to give up their mid inhibitor as well. LDLC very much the driver's seat. There's a reason why they're the top team in the league right now, and they want to triple inhib Misfits.
Oh man, more than that, they might be just looking to close things out here and now. Double TP to this top lane. Yes, they're going to take the inhib, but you know Misfits can't let that happen. They're going to try and fight for it, and if they lose even one member, it's GG.
Irrelevant as well, had a potential flank. He was invisible, but
Done it before.
He does get spotted, unfortunately. Ragnar was there watching out for the flank, but now that respond to the mid wave and the bot wave as well, they won't be able to triple inhibit them. But Misfits will take that in stride as the next dragon is up in 50 seconds.
And that will be Soul for this Misfits roster. About 30 seconds separate what could be that last Cloud Drake and the second Baron coming out here on the map. Thing is though, both TPs from LDLC were used. Yes, right now they might not matter because mid and bot are auto-pushing and there's only one objective to fight for. But in a few minutes time, that actually might end up being a difference maker here. It's going to make it harder for Ragnar to move to that side lane to match Irrelevant. It was a bit of a risky play for LDLC to try and potentially end the game. But who knows, they could just fight right now. If they manage to catch Misfits out, win a team fight and ace them, it's going to be done either way because of course those mid inhib and bot inhib are both off of the table, and I think Misfits, they're not going to fight this because they know there's only one Drake to LDLC's name. They know they just got to hang back. Yeah,
there's no need to, especially considering as the wave are now finally a little bit in their favor, but they have to at least keep one or two people there to try to respond to this because if they walk in to lose a fight, it's a 4v5, then LDLC can just walk into the base and take the game for free. Because as of right now, they're definitely just waiting for the opportunity. A moment, if you will, to get their shot against Misfits and firmly place themselves at the top of the league.
You can just tell how hard it is to play this game here. Because, I mean, if you just look at the relative power here from Misfits, because of the QSS tactics the kid has to pay, Woolite has already got the IE, already a 3-item jinx, but...
Oh, look at
this! He can't even play!
Bounced Moonlight back into the team, flashes over the wall, but that'll be more than enough because, Ager's a confident man. He's not short. He's 6 feet tall as he gets 2 more. Now does he walk in? They didn't want the Baron. They wanted your likes, Misfits. As 3 go down, Irrelevant has to walk away, and they can walk into the base. He will be able to back, but this should be the game. Ragnar
comes in clutch alongside DOS. I was just talking about hyping up how strong Woolite is and how he could be a way back into the game. But we're back to the same point, how hard it is for Woolite to play this game because of all the CC.
Yeah, start point, Ragnar good, end point. That's it, that's the quote, that's the tweet. Y'all go take that and run. LDLC show us far too often why they're not to be trifled with, and Misfits try to trifle.
Despite a shaky early game